You know what thrifting is. In a moment, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. For 3 decades, Paul Harvey came on the air and told the rest of the story. It was on the radio, usually AM, but once you started listening, you just couldn't stop. If you were driving, you kept driving. If you pulled into park before the end came, you stayed parked and you stayed in your vehicle until the story was over. Today, I'm going to start a new series called Thrifting, the rest of the story. And I'm going to tell some backstories behind my thrifting adventures, so to speak. Everything has a backstory, whether it's what you buy, what you sell, who sells it, where it's being sold at. There is a backstory for everything. And I tend to look for these backstories, and I'm going to tell you a few, starting now. Today I want to talk about The Great Gatsby. No, not the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel. Okay, maybe a tad about it. But it's more about the man who sat in front of my 10th grade class, droning on and on, reading the novel to his largely bored students. That was Mr. Wright. My younger brother called him Professor Wright. He was also a reverend, so I guess some people called him Reverend Wright. But to me, he was always Mr. Wright, and he sat up there and droned on and on and on. I don't remember much else about the class, except that I got an A. And Mr. Wright, unfortunately, was largely forgotten, at least to me, until that fateful day 37 years later. There was a yard sale advertised in an affluent part of town near my high school, Northeast High School. Northeast Raiders, yay Raiders. So, estate sale, we go. So we pulled up, had our van, pulled up, and I walked in. And immediately in the front door, like 2 feet from the front door, it seemed like there was a bookcase full of books. My eyes get wide, I love books, as you know. And I look at them and find some, and I start wandering through his house, and I find another bookcase full of Northeast High School yearbooks. I should have had some clue that it was a teacher, but I was self-absorbed. I was a self-absorbed 10th grader, and I was still self-absorbed, now, and, concentrate on what I'm doing and get focused in. And so I'm wandering through the halls, and I come upon a picture of Mr. Wright. I paused, looked at it, and I could not remember his name. Ticked me off. I couldn't remember his name. So I went up to the estate workers and said, "Who lived here?" And they gave me his name, Mr. Wright. Oh, did I mention the picture that I saw had a $10 price tag on it? But since it was Saturday, I could have bought that picture of Mr. Wright for a whopping $5. Now that I knew who he was, I decided to walk around the house again. To take a look at who the man was, other than the man sitting in front of the class reading The Great Gatsby. So I wandered around, paying attention. He loved to read. He apparently loved to travel, had lots of travel books and DVDs. He loved old cameras. He had lots of cameras. And he had boxes and boxes of photographs with his students that I could have had for, a whopping price of, $2 a box. I didn't buy any. But I wandered around some more just to get an idea who the man was. Estate sales are fairly intimate. You walk around and you see things that you normally wouldn't see of someone you know. Someone you don't know, obviously. But I walked around some more trying to get an idea who the man was. So after a little bit, I decided I had enough. I, said a silent prayer for Mr. Wright in my head and left, went back to the van. And as I got to the van, I decided I wanted to take a picture of the picture. I did not want to pay $5 for a picture of Mr. Wright. That'd been kind of silly. But I wanted to take a picture of it to sort of kind of remember. So I trudged back up to the house, went down the hallway, and the picture was gone. Someone had bought the picture of Mr. Wright. And as I walked back to my van for the second time, without a picture obviously, I began thinking and hoping that maybe both the picture and Mr. Wright are in a better place now. So, rest in peace, Mr. Wright. And now you know the rest of the story.